Hello everyone, welcome to Nightmare Nexus, where the darkness comes alive with spine-chilling stories and eerie tales that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Before beginning, please hit the subscribe button to never miss out on new stories.
Today we will talk about the disturbing true winter horror story. Before beginning, please hit the subscribe button so that you never miss out on new videos. So, without further ado, let's get started. The snowstorm began without warning, sweeping across the small mountain town of Pinewood like a vengeful spirit. For Emily Carter and her family, it was supposed to be a peaceful winter retreat, a chance to escape the chaos of city life and enjoy some quality time together. But what unfolded during those frigid nights would haunt them forever. Emily, her husband Mark, and their 10-year-old son Jake arrived at the cabin on a crisp December afternoon. The property was secluded, surrounded by a dense forest of towering pines blanketed in snow. It was the perfect picture of serenity, but the isolation was palpable. As the family unpacked, Emily noticed something strange. The caretaker, an older man named Mr. Grayson, seemed overly eager to leave. His warnings about the storm were almost frantic. "Make sure you're stocked up on wood and food," he muttered, his eyes darting nervously toward the woods. "And whatever you do, don't go out after dark." Mark chuckled, brushing off the man's concerns. "We'll be fine," he assured him. But Emily couldn't shake the unease that settled in her chest. That first night, the storm arrived with a ferocity none of them had anticipated. The wind howled like a wounded animal, rattling the cabin's windows. By midnight, the power flickered and died, plunging the family into darkness. Mark lit the fireplace, and they huddled together, listening to the storm's relentless fury. Jake tried to lighten the mood by telling jokes, but his nervous laughter only amplified the tension. Around 2 a.m., Emily heard it for the first time, a faint, high-pitched wailing. It sounded almost human, but distorted, as if carried on the wind from a great distance. She froze, straining to hear over the storm. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. Mark frowned. "Probably just the wind. Go back to sleep." But sleep eluded Emily. The sound came again, closer this time, and it was unmistakable. Someone, or something, was out there. The next morning, the storm had eased slightly, but the landscape was unrecognizable. Snow drifts towered around the cabin, and the driveway was completely blocked. As Mark began shoveling a path, Emily noticed strange tracks in the snow leading from the edge of the woods to the cabin's porch. They were too large to be human, but had an unsettlingly bipedal gait. "What kind of animal makes tracks like that?" she asked. Mark squinted at the prints, his expression darkening. "Could be a bear," he said, though he didn't sound convinced. That night, the wailing returned, louder and more persistent. This time, it was accompanied by a series of sharp knocks on the cabin's walls. Emily and Mark exchanged alarmed glances, and Mark grabbed a flashlight and his hunting rifle. "Stay here," he ordered, stepping outside. Emily clutched Jake tightly as they waited. Minutes felt like hours until Mark returned, his face pale. "I didn't see anything," he said, "but I found these." He held up a piece of torn fabric and a clump of fur. The fabric was soaked in blood. Panic set in. Emily wanted to leave immediately, but with the driveway impassable and the nearest neighbor miles away, they were trapped. Mark tried to reassure her, but the fear in his eyes betrayed him. The following day, the family stayed indoors, barricading the windows and doors. The snowstorm returned with a vengeance, and by nightfall, the cabin felt like a prison. Then, just after midnight, the power came back on. Relieved, Emily started preparing hot cocoa for Jake when the lights flickered again and went out. This time, they didn't come back. As Emily turned toward the living room, she froze. Jake was staring out the window, his face ashen. "Mom," he whispered, "there's someone out there." Emily joined him at the window, her heart pounding. At first, she saw nothing but the swirling snow. Then, a shadow moved between the trees, tall, gangly, and impossibly fast. It disappeared into the woods, but the tracks it left behind were clear. Mark grabbed his rifle again, but Emily stopped him. "We need to stay together," she insisted. "Whatever that thing is, it's not an animal." The wailing started again, louder than ever, and this time it was accompanied by scratching at the door. The sound was unbearable, like nails on a chalkboard, but magnified tenfold. Emily covered Jake's ears as Mark aimed his rifle at the door. Suddenly, the scratching stopped, and the cabin fell eerily silent. For a moment, they thought it was over. Then, a deafening crash shattered the window, and a figure burst inside. It was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its elongated limbs and skeletal frame were covered in matted fur, and its eyes glowed with a malevolent light. The creature let out a guttural roar, sending the family into a frenzy of terror. Mark fired his rifle, the sound echoing through the cabin. The creature staggered but didn't fall. Instead, it lunged at Mark, knocking him to the ground. Emily grabbed a fireplace poker and swung it with all her strength, striking the creature's head. It screeched in pain and retreated, crashing through another window and disappearing into the night. The family didn't sleep that night, too afraid to let their guard down. When dawn finally broke, they ventured outside. The snow was stained with blood, but the creature's tracks vanished at the edge of the woods. Desperate for help, they dug out their car and managed to drive to the nearest town. When they told their story, the locals exchanged uneasy glances. "That sounds like the Wendigo," one man said. "It's a spirit from Native American folklore. They say it's drawn to hunger and desperation, especially in the dead of winter." Emily shuddered, but she couldn't deny the similarities. The family never returned to the cabin, and they sold the property soon after. But even years later, on cold winter nights, Emily swore she could still hear the wailing, a haunting reminder of the terror they endured in those snow-covered woods. Thank you for joining us on this chilling journey through one family's horrifying winter ordeal. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more spine-tingling tales, and hit the notification bell to stay updated. Share your thoughts or your own scary experiences in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay safe, stay warm, and beware of what lurks in the snow. Sweet dreams. Please subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.